Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, resuming our program at Cairo local time. Well, Foreign Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Azaby, held a phone call with the Director General of the Chairman of the Board of Directors of our Fund for Economic and Social Development of East. The discussion focused on ways to enhance the cooperation between Egypt and the Arab Fund and to review priorities for collaboration during the coming period. Abdulati stressed the need for the greater coordination of joint Arab efforts to address the economic and development challenges arising from the crisis in the region. Well, Minister of Industry discusses expanding cooperation with the EBRD as at the conclusion of participation of the 35th annual meeting of the Business Forum of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development EBRD in Riga, Latvia. Engineer Khalid Hashim, the Minister of Industry, held a meeting with the EBRD Board for Directors to discuss ways to enhance cooperation in fields of energy, water, vocational training, and small and medium-sized enterprises. The Minister also met with the Minister Osman Klik, Deputy Minister of Trade and Finance of Turkey, to discuss ways to increase Turkish investments in Egypt. The Minister also met with Mr. Amino Umar Sadiq, Managing Director of the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, to discuss ways of strengthening investment cooperation between Egypt and Nigeria. The Minister also concluded his bilateral meetings with Mr. Mohamed Bashir, Director of Treasury and External Financing at Morocco's Ministry of Economy and Finance, to discuss ways of strengthening the joint industrial cooperation, development and developing financing mechanisms, and supporting investment between the two brotherly countries during the coming period. And to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have us over the phone our dear guest, Dr. Mohamed Azaby, Professor of International Relations. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
Sir, how can the cooperation between Egypt and the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development support Egypt's industrial development goals?
Well, we can say that the participation of Egypt's Minister of Industry, Engineer Khalid Hashim, in the 35th annual meeting and Business Forum of European Bank for Reconstruction and Development in Riga reflects further Egyptian strategy aimed at transforming the country into a regional industrial manufacturing and export hub. The meeting held officials and representatives from Turkey, Nigeria, and Morocco demonstrates a growing emphasis on industrial integration, investment, attraction, and export-oriented growth. The meeting with the EBRD leadership highlights the increasing importance of international financial institutions in supporting Egypt's industrial transformation agenda. So this meeting has a lot of objectives, especially like expanding cooperation in the renewable energy projects, supporting water infrastructure and the sustainability initiative, developing vocational and technical training programs, enhancing financing opportunities for small and medium-sized enterprises. So Egypt recognizes that industrial competitiveness is no longer based solely on labor costs or market size. Modern industrial growth depends on reliable energy supply, skilled labor, advanced infrastructure, access to financing. So the EBRD remains one of the most important international partners supporting economic reforms and private sector development in Egypt. Strengthening cooperation with the bank can help attract additional financing for strategic industrial projects, especially those linked to green manufacturing and sustainable development.
Yes. Dr. Azaby, why is Egypt seeking to increase the Turkish investment, particularly those investments aimed at exports? What is the importance of this?
Well, one of the most significant outcomes from the ministers' meeting was the discussions with Turkish Deputy Minister of Treasury and Finance Osman Klek. Relations between Egypt and Turkey have undergone a remarkable transformation in recent years following a period of political tensions. The current focus is increasingly economic rather than political. Main areas of cooperation, textile and garments, engineering, industrials, automotive, components, home appliances, chemicals and fertilizers, renewable energy components. Turkey possesses advanced manufacturing capabilities, a strong export network, competitive industrial supply chains. Meanwhile, Egypt offers a strategic geographic location, access to Africa and Arab markets, competitive labor costs, expanding industrial zone. The concept of joint production discussion during the meeting is particularly important because it moves beyond traditional trade towards industrial integration. Instead of the mere exchange of goods, both countries could combine production inputs to create products with higher add value and stronger export competitiveness. Increased Turkish investment in Egypt makes a lot of job creation, technology transfer, expansion of Egyptian export, integration into global value chain.
Yes. Also, Dr. Azaby, concerning also still in the same point, the increase of investment between Egypt and Turkey, what does the transition from trade to the joint production between Egypt and Turkey involve?
Well, we saw that there are a lot of cooperation fields, especially in military manufacturing field. We saw now a lot of missile is manufactured between Egypt and Turkey. So also textile projects, many textile factories are Egypt from Turkey. Also Egypt and Turkey make a cooperation in the green energy projects. Especially Egypt wants to be one of the main sources for green hydrogen and clean energy to all over the world. So Turkey have technology which can help Egypt to be one of the most exporter clean energy to many countries, especially like Europe and Africa. So Egypt, by cooperation between Turkey, it can make a great value for our productions to be exported to Turkey, to Europe through Turkey.
Yes. Also, Dr. Azaby, concerning Nigeria, how can the industrial integration between Egypt and Nigeria make both countries would benefit from?
The meeting with the Nigerian Foreign Investment Authority represents a significant step towards strengthening South-South economic cooperation. Nigeria is the African largest economy, one of the continent's largest consumer markets, a major energy producer, a strategic gateway to West Africa. Egypt seeks to leverage its manufacturing capabilities to support industrial development in Nigeria, while simultaneously expanding access to West African markets. Proposed area of operation, joint industrial projects, trading, financing, supply chain integration, creation of an Egypt-Nigeria trade corridor, increased banking cooperation. Also, African Continent Free Trade Area, the proposal to establish a commercial corridor aligns with the objective of the African Continental Free Trade Area. This could reduce trade barriers, facilitate movement of goods, increase intra-African trade, strengthen industrial value chains across the continent. If successfully implemented, Egypt and Nigeria could emerge as two major pillars of industrial cooperation in Africa. Egypt as a manufacturing and logistics hub in North Africa, Nigeria as a market and production hub in West Africa. This model can become one of the most influential examples of regional industrial integration on the continent.
Yes, yes. I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for valuable information, Dr. Mohamed Azaby, the Professor of International Relations. And now with a short break, and we are going to be back with you. Welcome back. Natural gas and electric buses have reduced Egypt's diesel use by 73.5% between July 2025 and May 2026.
Natural gas and electric buses reduced Egypt's diesel use by 73.5% in 1 year. Chairman of the Public Transport Authority (PTA), Abdel Khail Sheikh, said on Saturday that the authority's expansion of bus fleet powered by natural gas and electricity has helped reduce diesel consumption by 73.5% between July 2025 and May 2026. Sheikh's remarks came during Prime Minister Mohamed visit to the authority to follow up on the implementation of the upgraded public mass transit system. During the tour, Sheikh reviewed the significant progress the authority has recently achieved in its transition towards environmentally friendly green transport. This progress has significant substantial financial savings while supporting the state's efforts to rationalize fuel consumption and cut carbon emissions. Sheikh noted that the authority has launched an ambitious program to convert buses from diesel to natural gas, with a plan to retrofit 1,962 buses in 6 phases, each covering 327 buses. He said that the first and second phases have already been completed, bringing the total number of converted buses to 654.
Well, as a result of the expansion of monetary rates, domestic liquidity in the banking sector have increased to 15.137 trillion Egyptian pounds in April 2026.
The Central Bank of Egypt announced that domestic liquidity in the banking sector increased to 15.137 trillion Egyptian pounds in April 2026, up from 15.074 trillion Egyptian pounds in March, reflecting continued expansion in monetary aggregates. According to the CBE's latest report, money supply rose to 4.302 trillion Egyptian pounds in April compared to 4.189 trillion Egyptian pounds a month earlier. Currency in circulation outside the banking system also increased to 1.635 trillion Egyptian pounds, up from 1.576 trillion Egyptian pounds in March. The report showed that local currency non-government deposits at banks exceeded the 10 trillion Egyptian pounds mark, reaching 10.001 trillion Egyptian pounds in March compared to 9.943 trillion Egyptian pounds in March. Demand deposits denominated in local currency climbed to 2.667 trillion Egyptian pounds. The private sector accounted for the largest share at 1.343 trillion Egyptian pounds, followed by households with 1.216 trillion Egyptian pounds, with the public business sector held 107.653 billion Egyptian pounds. On the foreign currency side, total non-government deposits declined slightly to the equivalent of 3.501 trillion Egyptian pounds in April compared to 3.554 trillion Egyptian pounds in March. Foreign currency demand deposits stood at equivalent of 894.198 billion Egyptian pounds in April. The private sector held the largest share at 600.811 billion Egyptian pounds, followed by households, and the public business sector with 44.431 billion Egyptian pounds.
On this, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of Cairo local time. My name is Amal Mukhtar. Thank you for watching.